Hey everybody, so what we're doing now, I'm just going to give it a few seconds or so because this is the first time that we've done this. So we're just going to hold for a second. And what I'll do is I'm going to show a couple of testimonies while we're waiting for everybody to start logging in and everything, because we're going to be starting doing this on our lives on the YouTube channel. But you can also find it on the what is it, www.thepurposebuilders.com/homes live. All right. So it's thepurposebuilders.com/homes, HOMES, live, LIVE. Matter of fact, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and post that right here in a couple of seconds. And so I got 8:26. So in about 4 minutes or so, we'll go ahead and go live. But I wanted to go ahead and come on just a little bit ahead of time. So give the people a chance to see how everything works. Right. So let me put this up here for those that are watching it on repeats or anything like that. And it's home live. All right. So as you can see right here, you got the thepurposebuilders.com/HOMESLIVE, where we're going to be going over how to get yourself into a home. We're going to be going over how to get yourself investing into a home, right? So all of these individual pieces, we're going to align for you and let you know also that the funding is available. How are you going to get to the ins and outs? So, what about my credit? What about the income, right? What about, the type of house I'm looking for? What about if I want to build from the ground up? So we'll be talking about all of those things. We'll get those things in line for you. But while we're waiting, what I'll do is I'll show you a couple of testimonies, because not only do we deal with the homes, right? Investing, helping people with real estate, whatever those challenges may be, saving homes as well. But also we deal with business credit, because it's a way to leverage what you're doing, right? Business credit is a way to leverage what you're doing. So I want to show you a quick testimony about Mr. Harris, James Harris, and he'll tell you just a little bit more about what he did with his.
Hi, my name is Jim. I'm the owner of Morningstar Disability, which is a disability firm. I'm actually recording this video testimony, as you see here, at my home office. I just want to do a quick video because I just wanted to inform the populace out there how excited we are about the Business Finance Suite, because for all intents and purposes, there's not a lot, and I've done plenty of research, and I'm sure you probably have as well, on the internet regarding business credit, how to obtain it, what are the 1, 2, 3 steps of how to get business credit and secure financing, which is so important for a small business such as myself to be able to survive and thrive in today's economy. I'm sure that you can agree with that. And so what's great about it is the fact that you have the support with the team, right? The Finance Suite product is so integral for our business, because of the fact that it teaches you how to structure your business properly. There were some things that I was missing. There were some things that I had, but there were some things that I was missing, as well as the credit profiles and things like that to be created, and then vendor trade lines. Like, we would never know what types of what are the criteria that are necessary, the underwriting guidelines for the vendors to be selective, that when we would choose them, that we would be approved versus something where it would be where it would negatively impact our credit because we were just taking a shot in the dark, right? So I thought that was very, very important. Of course, where are you going to find that? No one's telling you anything about that, right? And then of course, then to be able to get business credit cards in my business name with no personal guarantee, because most of the time they want to get your social security number when you're applying for business credit cards. So this totally separates my personal from my business, which is awesome. And then of course, the major thing is securing financing. We all need financing and working capital. My business sure does, and did at the time. And so it's awesome. I'm very excited where I'm at today. I'm very excited in the process. The team is very supportive, right? They're very knowledgeable about business credit and securing the best financial options for you, right? And they go through everything thoroughly. I just, I couldn't say enough about it. But again, because of the fact that it is exclusive, you don't see it anywhere else on the internet. This put everything, it's like a one-stop shop, put everything all at my fingertips. And with that being said, hey, it allows me to have control, which is what I like, to have full control over the success of my business, and I'm sure that you would agree. So anyway, that's my testimony. Go out and buy your own Business Finance Suite. Thank you.
So, guys, as you can see, what our goal is to help you with the individual steps. We start with what we call a simple formula. That formula is PC, BC, and LC, right? It's simply personal credit plus business credit equals leveraged credit. And that's going to take you to where you want to be. And what we want to do is, and also please make this note, we are doing it tonight on a Friday, but we'll be doing this on Thursday nights at 8:30, okay? Because at Fridays we had a lot of individuals saying that, hey, yeah, family time or X, Y, and Z. So we want to make sure that we get everybody an opportunity to be a part of what we're trying to do. Because there are some people that are self-motivated. There are some people that are really ready to go get whatever it is that they have as a goal. They're ready to do the things necessary to line up what they need, okay? And so that's what we want to do. We want to be there as a place to help those people to be able to get there. So what I'll do now is just share this with you, and we'll be out of the way, right? We'll get ourselves going to a place to where we can understand ins and outs of real estate. Okay? So everybody's having a great Friday, and you out there, you're trying to get your first home, or you're trying to save the home that you're in, right? Whatever it is that you're dealing with. Maybe you're looking for financing, maybe a good down payment program that's going to help you get into the home. Maybe you need something to help out with your credit, right? Maybe there's something that you just don't understand about FHA or rural housing, right? Maybe it's something that you're trying to understand with investing into homes. So that's what we are doing, okay? And we have a large focus, and that big focus is on using private money to accomplish our goals. A lot of times we do things, and everybody's probably heard of what we call conventional financing. That's what we do. We go into the bank, right? We go into Bank of America, Wells Fargo. We go get a loan for the house. And this particular loan will require somewhere between 5 to 20% down, okay? And see, that's the normal way of doing things. And that's what we do when we go and buy a house retail, right? We don't want to continue to do that. We want to do something outside of the box. We don't want to do retail consistently, because what happens when you do retail, that means you're not available for the wholesale opportunities. What I mean is this: if you go to this nice, lovely subdivision, you see a home that's $200,000, right? So now you go and get the loan for $200,000, but they also got to include taxes and insurance and all the other pieces. And so now the $200,000 has become $220,000, $210,000. Depends on the realtor that you're paying. Maybe there's a mortgage company that you're paying in between, right? So now you're paying more than the house is worth, because you got to take care of taxes, insurance, and all the other things that are tacking on to it. So as we're going through, we are showing you how to become real, okay? How to renew excellence, advanced leadership, so that you can buy a home and you buy in a wholesale track, which means that instead of buying the $200,000 home, you find the same $200,000 home, but say it's in a terrible situation, and the windows are broken, it's just been abandoned, right? But it's in a great neighborhood. So now you're able to find a house for $80,000, and it could be worth $200,000. Just got to put maybe 30 or 40 into it. right? So now you have a home for 80, you put 40 into it, now there's 120,000 that you got involved in this house, but it's worth 200. So now we say, okay, hey, 200 minus the 120, that brings us around $80,000 in equity going into the house. See, you've become your own bank simply by understanding how to purchase the property first. Okay. So our goal is to help you to fund deals because not only are you able to get a home or you're able to invest in homes with us with the strategies and the help, but you're also able to tell others that, hey, you can get them funding for their home and we'll pay you a great referral fee for that particular person that you referred to us. So yes, you can also help people get their deals funded. Okay. So what this is going to do is it's going to show you a new way, a new style of going after what you're going after. See, when you do this way, your house becomes an asset quicker because beforehand the asset just does not exist. Some people believe that, hey, if I have a home, then that's an asset. No, because an asset is anything that brings you money. See, if it's a liability, that means it takes money out of your pocket. So until you get to a place to where you're making money with the home, then it's still a liability. Okay. So what we want to do is to get the best that we can out of this. We want to take great notes. Okay. We want to understand, okay, where are we going? Decide on your specific action points. What is it that you're going to do? What does it take for you to get to where you're going? What are you prepared to do about what it takes to get you going, right? Because the best thing that you can realize is that the word says, hey, you must write the vision first, right? So that those that read it can run. But if your vision isn't written, then what do we do, right? How do we know? And that's what we want to do. We want to get to a place to be decided, right? We want to be, like, if you're something in the background, right? What is it that you're really wanting out of life? Okay, one side showing you how to do the ins and outs of this business will show you how we call a six-figure cash flow millionaire, which simply means that you're developing somewhere between $8,000 to $9,000 a month in cash flow, not just income, meaning that if you stop, the income stops. No, we have $8,000 to $9,000 in cash flow, and that equates to a millionaire. Okay, because no matter what you're doing, that will produce that amount of money. So just think about it like this: if you have $1 million and you invest it, and it's producing 8% a year, right? Then that's what $80,000 every year that million produces for you, right? So now this million sits to the side. It never goes into the million because every year it produces 80,000 and you live off of the 80,000. See, that is your asset. See, that's what we want to do. We want to create houses, businesses, assets that are going to pay you between $8,000 to $9,000 a month. Okay. Then on the other side, those that are just, hey, I just need a home, right? I have a career that I love, a job that I love. That's not something that I'm looking to do. Then that's awesome, right? So what we want to do is want to show you that's the strategies, the 1, 2, 3, personal credit, business credit, and then learning how to leverage those two. Okay. So when you do that, now you can take immediate and decisive action because in a moment you'll know how to be confident enough to approach the sellers of real estate, knowing that you're a real estate investor backed by millions of dollars in purchasing power. Okay, so that means when you spot a property, then you have the opportunity to have that particular property financed. Okay, and see, the goal of what we want to do is we want to not just secure a property. Because what happens when you secure property, now, like we said before, it becomes a liability. First, it must take money out of your pocket. So now you got to have the cash flow developed so that you can take care of the property that you're getting. And see, if you're getting your first time home or your next home, what they do is they look at your gross income, and then they say, okay, according to your gross income, you can only purchase 25 to 35% of your gross income as a monthly payment. So if we looked at round numbers and the person was having $4,000 a month coming in, right? Gross income, then they could only do, let's say, 25%. They would only allow them to do a house that's $1,000 a month, because that's 1/4 of what they're getting in every month, right? They want you to have a surety that you'll be able to make these payments, right? And see, what we want to do is the same way. So our goal is to help you create the cash flow, right? So our first thing is to understand how to write off your lifestyle, right? The already money that's leaving your house. First and foremost, you're paying bills. These bills are things like your cell phone, Wi-Fi bill, mileage, right? Your gas, right? And that's going higher and higher every month, it seems like. See, those things can be write offs or business deductions when you understand how. That starts you on the path of getting some of your cash flow back so that you're prepared to go into the next step of life. Now, as you're doing that, you start to what? Use the extra money to pay down debt. As we pay down debt, now what? We're freeing up money. See, you had $200 a month going to the particular credit card, or $200 a month going to the cell phone bill. Now you're able to reduce the cell phone bill. Now you're able to eliminate the credit card bill. Now you roll that continual money, right, to start building your personal credit, because now you can start paying things on time because you have extra cash flow, right? You haven't started a extra job. You haven't started with a pill, potion, lotion, and selling things. That's not your goal, right? So you want to increase the personal credit. Then you want to reduce the amount of taxes that you're paying. Okay, and we will walk you through those steps. So when we're doing those things, now we have investing strategies that we can put into place. See, you took steps to acquire as much cash flow as possible, right? Then you made the steps to go ahead into investing, right? That way you have a solid platform or foundation to take off from. Okay? And so now what we do is we apply all extra cash flow into what we're doing, right? We're able to do what we're calling ourselves build our purpose. See, we are kingdom purpose builders. Okay. So what is it that you're called to do? Now you can have a goal, a strategy, tactics to get it funded. Okay. Now, when we're dealing with real estate, like I said, we like to focus on what we call private money. Okay. And see, this is something that's ideal because you'll see as we come forward. Okay. It's a little bit further. So private money is simple capital led by private citizens or companies throughout the United States. Okay? It usually has just shorter terms where you have like a 30-year mortgage. This will be somewhere around 6 months, 12 months, 2 years. Okay. So it's a clearly defined repayment schedule on the shorter terms. So these terms of these type of loans, it'll help you to get the house on the wholesale side instead of the retail side, as we were talking about before. So what would you rather do? Would you rather pay an extra $20,000 for the home because you just didn't have the education or the information, or would you rather have that 20,000 that you saved, right? And that's just an example, right? So now let me show you a little breakdown by using a couple of private individuals. See, our goal is to show you how to be the real you, right? How to get that and chase after your particular purpose. How do you run after it without having to use your job to fund it, right? How do you run after it and you don't have the excellent credit, right? How do you do it and you don't have the way to fund it? Okay, so let me show you some strategies, because either you're going to have the money, right, and it's going to reduce your time, or you got to use your time because you don't have a lot of money, right? So now, investor Stephanie is buying a home to fix it up, right, and to resell it for some profit. Now, because of how it works, you ever seen a house on the side of the road? It's just awful, right? It's torn up, the brakes is falling off, all these things, right? And so people pass by it because they don't have the extra money to put into it. And neither will a regular lender lend money on it. Okay. So that's the nature of the deal. So she can't go to a regular institution. So what else can we do? What else can Stephanie do, right? And it's private money. You see, you ever heard of the slogan, as they say, it's not what you know, but it's who you know, right? So right now you're learning something, and it's what you know. Now the private money becomes to who you know, so that we can put you guys together. So Linda is the who, right? Stephanie's paying $100,000 for a house that she can resell for 175,000. And so we'll show you how to use a formula so that if it's your first home, you can do it this way, right? If it is your second home, right? If you're already in a home and you want to refinance and then access some equity so that you can invest into other properties, whatever that system may be that we need to implement for, right? So you want to be able to go into your home with money in the house, right? It's like walking in, you got money in the mattresses. So Stephanie already has 35,000 in cash, so she needs to borrow the rest, which is 65,000, right? So Stephanie has 35,000. Maybe she did a personal credit restoration and was able to go to some of our networks and grab 35,000. We just recently helped a young lady get to 27,500 in one sitting. Okay. So now maybe the individual has business credit. They got a couple of lines over there, right? But whatever the means are, it could be like we have a powerful young lady, Ashante. She also has a savings. So therefore, maybe they pulled $35,000 from there, right? So it's several places of how you can do this. Okay, you can start with zero if you have the motivation and the drive to do the steps. Okay, so now we need to get that extra 65,000 to get the 100, right? Because we need 100. So Stephanie contacts the private lender named Linda, as you see, offers to pay her a premium price, which is the interest for the loan, to borrow the 65,000 just for a short time. Because you can see as a proposal, I have a gross amount of income or cash that I can make, or cash flow of 75,000. So I just need to borrow from you 65, and I'm going to show you that I know what I'm doing by showing you a proposal. Okay. So Linda says, hey, I'm fine because I'll be in first position, meaning that, hey, if anything goes wrong, the house comes to me, which means that, hey, for $65,000 that I'm lending, I can have a home that should be worth 175,000, right? So Linda's great. She acquired the property if everything happens crazily, but if nothing happens crazily, now she's going to make interest. So hey, she's awesome. She loves what she does. So now Linda has 200,000 or so in a 401k or an annuity that she can actually access. So now the 401k was making 2 or 3%. Now let's see what we're going to do now by loaning 65,000. Okay. So now the solution, the after repair value, which we talk about. If you've been a part of the Real University for any moment of time, you know the after repair value. That's just the AR to the V, right? Right? They should call me a man, the GOAT greatest of all time, Rakim, right? A to the R to the V. But let me go. But the purchase price is 100,000, right? So now we have a down payment of 35,000. Remember, she got it from a personal credit line or a business credit line or borrowed it from a 401k, right? So now she has 65 to make up for it, okay? Which means this. That is what we call a loan to value, or the LTV of 65%. Okay, that just simply means the purchase price is 100, the amount needed is 65. So you can easily see between the 100 and 65, that's 65% of the 100, right? So now, but if you look at the after repair value, which says, hey, instead of looking at the 100, let's look at the 175 compared to the 65, right? When we do that, then it's an even lower loan to value, which means the bank loves you even more. So now they see that, hey, the after repair value, if Stephanie does what she should, it's only 37%. So I feel quite safe. Even if she doesn't do, I'm still quite safe because I'm only loaning 65%. Okay. So I'm going to do this at 9%. Right? So now Linda says, hey, here's your 65,000, but I'm going to charge you 9%, which equals $487 a month. Right? And so Stephanie says, hey, well, I may have it about 12 months. So Linda says, hey, that's great. So for loaning this out, I'm going to make $5,850, right? Where it was making 2 or 3%. Now I've tripled the amount that I was getting in my 401k by getting 9% in a shorter period of time, right? So let's take a look. So we fast forward, right? Fast forward 12 months. Stephanie sells the house, 175,000. She did everything right. She had the contractors, she had everything lined up. She did the appraisal right. She did the surveys. She did the inspections. She got everything done right. So now total closing costs and fees equals 10% of the sales price, right? Or $175,000. Okay. So now that's $17,500. Okay. So that's what the closing costs and fees is, generally 10%. So just like we did one that's coming up now, just imagine, right? If we have a $1 million deal, that means you still got to do 10%, right? So that's $100,000. But see, the beautiful thing about it is that now, if you have $100,000, you can also control $1 million worth of property, right? So you gotta have to understand going into it that to get over the hump, you gotta have something to start that momentum, right? Then what she did was she said, hey, I'm gonna back up and I'm gonna subtract the repair costs. Okay. And also she found out that she only had to have the money for 5 months at $845. Okay. So now there's another $42.25 subtracted. Right now we're just doing what? We're just taking the amount that we had, our gross amount, 175, and we're subtracting the things that we spent to get to the 175, right? So when we see large numbers and things like that, it's always not exactly what you see, because you have expenses, you have holding costs, you have things that pop up that you don't know that it was coming up, like flood insurance maybe. So you have these things that are happening, and you got to be able to back it up and to know where you're going. Okay. So now the payoff for Linda, right, is $67,600. Then also remember, then Stephanie came up with the 35,000. So we want to put that 35,000 back into Stephanie's 401k, right? Or wherever, back on the credit cards or back in the line, right? So we want to put that money back. Now we calculate the profit. Okay. So Stephanie still created $35,000 of profit. Okay. See, we saw that it was a gross profit of 75,000. 175 minus 100, right? So that was a gross profit of 75,000. But net profit was 35,000. You see what I'm saying? So you gotta understand how your numbers work and not go in things blind. Okay. So now Linda is happy. She created $6,800. So everything's great. So now Linda and Stephanie has this deal. They say, hey, I like what you did. Well, I like what you did. Let's do that some more, right? So now they continue doing the same process, right? As often as they can. Okay. If you're an individual, generally you can do this once or twice a year because of what we call a debt to income ratio, which means that they will only allow you to have as much as you can hold according to the income that you can provide. Okay, that is your debt to income ratio. Right. So when you know these things, right, these things they're not talked about. We didn't in our community, right? We didn't talk about how to get a home. We talked about how to buy a home, how to go over there and get you a realtor, go over here, talk to the bank, and go those different steps, right? And then let everybody else eat off of what you have, and then now you have 7 to 10 years on paying on that house before you even get to the principal, which means for the first 7 to 10 years, generally, you're paying nothing but interest on that house. So if you look at it like this, if you buy $100,000 home and it's a 30-year mortgage, you're going to pay approximately $250,000 for that $100,000 home. See, when you know the ins and outs and decisions you make differently, right? You go at it differently. So this creates that win-win for everybody. And like we said, where can you get this particular funding for your first home, your second home, or maybe you're going through challenges and you need somebody to save your home, right? So we have the people in position to do those things as well. Okay, and so it could be in your equity in your home. We have several individuals that are working with right now that we're doing. Right? We had an individual that had a home they were losing because of challenges of repairing the property, right? Challenges of taxes. It was paid off. Remember, no matter what, if you even pay your property off, it still does not belong to you if you cannot pay your taxes. You can lose your home for as little as $1,300. I had a young lady call me just earlier this week and getting ready to pay $1,300 to acquire a $150,000 house, right? See, the things that you know, right? This is, what does it say? Hey, my people are destroyed, right? Because of lack of vision, lack of knowledge, okay? So stocks, commodities, precious metals, hedge funds, Forex, foreign exchange currencies, a previous real estate portfolio, right? And we can gather and think and what a good friend of mine calls a dump session to find out how we can get you to where you need to be. Okay? So as we do these things, we have combined Real University with a company, Coco Capital, right? So with that, we're able to do a lot of different things to help you through the end of where you're going. Okay, so Coco has an unending source of capital, has strategic partners, over 75 years of legal and real world experience, and is one of the fastest growing matchmakers between funds and deals. And Real University has been around for almost 30 years in essence, right? Because I've been doing real estate for a little over 30 years now. Okay, starting from the training to the flipping. Okay, so when we were doing that, we've been involved in over 300 different deals. And by 2008, we had amassed about 62 houses. And everybody knows around 2009, that's when the market crashed. They saved everybody but the small people. The banks got saved, and we had to go through short sales, leading to foreclosure to get about. Right? So about $4 million was lost. So now I want to teach individuals how to craft, how to get yourself together so that you don't have to do what we did, right? You don't have to lose and you can gain, okay? So we keep it absolutely secure, okay? Gives you complete control, gives you funding without worrying about traditional bank considerations, okay? Because understand, wealth is not determined by the amount of money you have, but rather by the amount of assets that you control. Like man Warren Buffett says, he says, hey, we want to control everything but own nothing. Okay. And you will get that if you stay around what we do. Okay. So private money is not the only source for real estate investment funding, but it is very powerful. Okay. Because it allows you to buy property regardless of credit score, background, what you know, your income status, employment status, current situation, right? So when you understand how to put a deal in a proper proposal, then there's definitely a lot more advantages for you. Okay. So these types of things that we do, single family, they all have to be what we call non-owner occupied. Okay. So, and we'll teach you more about the difference between non-owner occupied and, of course, owner occupied, right? So we'll show you those types of things. New construction, rehab, fix and sell, rehab, fix and hold, right? We can even show you how to do a simple trick that I've learned with FHA and duplexes, okay? So if you can show us that the project puts money in your pocket, we can most probably help you to get funded, okay? So as you're breaking these down, you got to understand is the we are working in the commercial arena. Okay, so it's a couple of things that you may think if you're dealt in the residential, right, and not the commercial, because we're dealing with buying the property within your LLC, the corporation, your partnership, or your trust. Okay, so personal guarantors are required, and I can show you, the differences. Right, personal guarantor simply has to have just a 640, right, and we can get that done. Okay. So we do a couple of things: refinance and purchase. Simple, right? And if you want to be a part, you can learn the steps and then get your own home, or learn the steps and get that investment property with us. We do group deals, or we can show you individually how to partner with us and half deals. Okay, so refinancing and purchasing, right? So they lend up to 80% of their purchase price. And if you know the right individuals, I may be able to get you 90% of that purchase price, right? Or 65%, remember, of the as-is appraised value. Okay. So what we want to show you is how to go about doing these things. Don't worry about, the ins and outs. That's why we'll be here, right? To show you the breakdowns. Our focus is real estate and business credit. So you have equity partners, maybe a family or friend, equity in a free and a clear property, seller, carrybacks. So there's different things that we can do, right? Equity partners, that's what we do. We become an equity partner with you as an individual and show you how to have access to what you're looking for. Okay? We had our own Mr. J.R. Watts, who brought a wonderful property, and we'll be able to help this individual to save their property. The property itself is going to be worth like $350,000, right? So we'll be able to help that person access maybe $150,000 in equity, okay? And then turn that equity and start to invest into other properties. And so he can continue to do what he loves to do as the owner of this property. Real University will help him along the way to start those investment dollars to work in individual properties. We'll help to spot the property. We'll help to find the construction of what's necessary for the property, right? And then also, since JR referred us, that what we make, then there's a portion of whatever we make going over to JR and his family, okay? So this is how we're making sure that it is a family affair to allow the dollar to circulate. If you will look and you say, hey, how long will a dollar circulate in various communities? If you look into the quote unquote Jewish community, then they say it revolves 15, 16 times, right? It revolves months at a time in that community. You look into the Asian, Indian community, right? They say that about the same, right? It revolves in their months at a time. And they say, hey, you look into the Black or African American community, quote unquote, right? Then it stays approximately 6 hours. In approximately 6 hours, when the dollar comes into our community, it goes into another community within 6 hours. average. Okay, so our goal is to help you at Real University. Now, as we bring this to a close, let me show you an example. This loan amount is 55,000. And Mary put this down, okay? She says, I put 4 properties on the contract, all related to my first deal. I can do this because I have access to private money. It's a small price to pay to put 16K in your pocket. That's just what I paid on the property I just closed on. Right? So that's what we're trying to do here, right? And the website up here has changed, and I will put that at the end, right? When you decide that's what you do, you'll find out how to fill out our application. Okay, so if you're watching this on replay, this is not the website for us to use right now for this application. Make sure you get the person that invited you. We'll make sure that we get that out to you, okay? And then we will have support and walk you through getting the package submitted, how to do the proposal, how to make it look good to the bank, how to look for the right type of formulas, right? Then once your deal is accepted, we'll get the funding you need to secure the deal, right? So as you see here, our goal is to get you to the money. If you've seen a wonderful, what was that movie? And it was, I think it was the access to the capital access. My goodness, it was awesome. And it was about the first blacks that had started a bank, right? If you would Google that, that movie is awesome. It will show you and teach you why we need to have access to capital, why we need to have ownership, right? And so that's what we're doing today, is to make sure that you understand those ins and outs of ownership, okay? So as we're doing these things, our goal is to make sure that you get that house that you desire, right? And it doesn't have to be the last stand. Let's imagine right now you're in a position where you can only afford, right, X amount of dollars, right, an $80,000 property. So let's go ahead and get that, and then work on increasing your cash flow, and then turn that property into an investment property, and then move up to the $250,000 property. Because now you have the asset that is paying a portion of the $250,000 house, right? So when we get those things together, nothing you can't do. So now you can continue the process. You can work with us in group economics, right? And what I wanted to understand, what you understand tonight is this: we're changing, our complete approach to what we're looking for, because beforehand it was, it's trying to actually catch fish and then clean the fish and then move them over into the pan, right? So what we want to do now is we want to cultivate those individuals that already have the self-motivation, that already have, the motivation to understand that, hey, if I'm going to succeed, I got to log in and I got to get the training. I got to bring a pen and pencil. I got to take notes. I got to do things on my own, right? So we are moving and transitioning into that level. Okay, so we are not wanting to leave anybody behind, but we are needing to actually house a gathering of individuals that are real about where we're going, and not just individuals that are looking to grab a piece of the pie and not become a part of the family. Because generally what we're doing is that as you're bumping into individuals who understand this knowledge, people will start to pull on you for your knowledge, right? And see, they will do that for the least amount that's possible. And see, now that starts to pull or starts to pull on your particular gift, okay? So you got to understand how to separate yourself and understand who you're called to. Because if you're working consistently with who you're not called to, everybody still gets frustrated. But if you're working with people that you're not called to, then the frustration is ultimate, okay? So what I'm saying about all of this, our first go around, what we were doing previously was actually saying, hey guys, come aboard. And in order to learn what we're learning, in order to do what we're doing, right, we had a fee. And that fee was monthly fee, okay? And I think it prevented some people from actually getting themselves going, because right now we're still robbing Peter to pay Paul, right? And so what we want to do is we want to get to a place there where we can go down to brass tacks. Okay, so from here all the way to January 1st, we want to start bringing individuals in at zero cost, right? So what we want to do is we want to find and eliminate all these excuses about not having time, about not liking to do this. I don't like to do work. I don't like to do show up to meetings. I don't want to do jobs. I don't want to do, we want to eliminate all these excuses, right? And then when we find the excuse, we want to eliminate the individual making that excuse, because we do not have time to actually settle or satisfy or satiate the excuses. We want to go forward at all costs, right? We want to make sure that everybody that's putting in, they're going forward. We want to keep moving. And those individuals that feel like they're not quite there, you don't quite have that motivation. You can't wake up in the morning or stay up late, or you can't plug in and read the books, or you can't plug in to twice a week listening to the calls, or whatever those things are. You have to realize, okay, what I'm wanting is here. What I'm wanting is 6 figures a year. What I'm wanting is a home, right? But I'm not willing to put in the time that creates 6 figures, right? And then if I want the home, I'm not willing to put in the things necessary to get my credit back to where it needs to be, right? So we want to remove all those excuses and say, okay, hey guys, if you want to do this, we will still help you with profit sharing. If you refer somebody, we will still refer and actually give you bonuses and compensation for referring individuals. If you want to create income with business credit, and you want to create income with real estate, we're going to show you how to create income and business income with real estate. But now, because this is a free, it is no cost to get in, what we have to do is to disqualify. So now what we're doing is, as we're bringing people in by the groves to say they want to do this, and say they want to do that, they're going to start coming in and start, getting busy, right? Those that say, for instance, it may be out of a month. Out of that month, it may be 8 meetings that happen within that whole month. Okay. Out of those 8, if you miss 2, you will be eliminated from this process. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to start looking into the back office, and if your present momentum, if as I look in the back office and you're doing your course and your coursework is standing on 25%, right, or 30%, you don't finish your courses, then we're going to push you on out, right? So we got some awesome things that are happening. We got a whole large company, Kogo Capital, behind us, right, to help with the funding, right? So we got some huge things that are happening. So we're going to start, those individuals that are with us, we're going to say, hey, the next time you come aboard, Thursday, 8:30, next Thursday at 8:30, don't know more about the things I wasn't reminded, I forgot, I didn't have it in my calendar. No, we are 18 and above. We're 18 years old and above, right? So therefore, we need to do the things that are necessary for our growth and development. All those other things that we are allowing ourselves to limit our thoughts, we have to put that to the side. We have to make that decision. And that's what it is. Now, that decision can't be made right away a lot of times. And I realize that because we've been trained a certain kind of way. But if you plug in, if you come to the calls, if you continually learn and go into the back office, if you do what we're saying by reading this particular book, right? All of these things and working with us, then guess what happens? You start to have your mind renewed, right? You heard of what? Garbage in, garbage out, right? So now you start putting good stuff in, and good stuff starts to come out. You start to reduce the amount of crap. You start to change your programming, because the thing that says, hey, procrastinate, the things that says, hey, don't show up, the things that says, put that off, or don't write that down, right? All of these things we will start to push out of our mind, and we will start to say, I'm disciplined, I'm creating great habits, all right? I'm transitioning. I understand I got to put the time in to get the effort, right? In order to get the cash flow. So we want to say, hey, is it time for motivation? Yes, it's time for motivation, right? But it's also time for that motivation to drive inspiration, right? Because there's individuals out here that are going through hell, and right, they're losing individuals, right? We got people that are going through sicknesses, right? We got people that are going through different kinds of challenges. And see, now it's time to hone in, because it's always a time when the enemy hits you over your head, tries to drive things in between, right? What all these things are, we are still here. We have to produce, right? So now our goal is to make ourselves better and understand what our calling is. Once we realize that, then the things that we are doing, we start to put that to the side. Because now we say, hey, I was called to motivate women that are 30 years and over, into financial empowerment and growth and development, right? I'm the individual that is empowering people that used to be involved into street pharmaceuticals, right? And so now I can show them how to change this type of hustle into a legal hustle to get themselves out of position, right? Out of that particular position, right? So who are you talking? Who are you called to? Right? See, when you do that, you start to work outside of yourself. You start to understand that I can't make certain decisions because I am called to this particular place, right? So if you're here and you want to get that first home, you want to get that next home, you want to start investing, you want to start understanding how business and personal credit works, right? Come on back, right? Thursday night at 8:30 Eastern. All you got to do is go to the website. And I'm going to bring that up right quick as we let you guys rock out of here. So, as you see, as it going across the screen here, as a man thinks in his heart, and so is he. Then you might say, well, what am I thinking in my heart, right? Just simply look around you, right? Look at what's happening. Okay, what's been planted in your heart? How do you respond, or do you react, right, to life? So now when you start thinking about these things, we had to understand, hey, we just can't look at just the financial aspect, right? I was talking to a great friend and we were saying, hey, we got to do more than just the financial aspect. We got to look into the mental, the spiritual, the physical, as well as the financial, right? If we're not doing that, then we're going to lose along the line. It's no good of having wealth. We're not without health, right? It's so we want to, and it's also terrible being in complete health, right? And has no wealth, right? So we want to be in a place to where we're coming out of sleep, right? We want to wake up and say, hey, whatever I used to do, that's what got me where I am. So if I'm continuing to do what I'm doing, I'm going to get the same stuff that I've already been getting, right? So if I'm not putting new things in my mind, if I'm not involved with new individuals, I can't grow out of where I am. I have to move myself. I have to take myself above where I'm planted. I got to take myself out of this soil and put myself into a whole different soil, right? I can still, if I'm strong enough, I can still talk to those people in my past because I know where I'm going. But if I'm not strong enough yet, I got to cut them off completely, because what's the goal here? What's the goal? The goal is not to accumulate wealth. We're talking about accumulating freedom, right? So the cash flow is to be able to get you to a position to take over whatever level of expenses that you have, right? So if you're in a place and you got $4,000 a month in expenses, we want to pay down that debt. We want to get all that stuff out of the way. So now we own the home, right? We own the car, right? So now our expenses are now $2,000, $2,500 a month. Now we have $6,000 a month in assets that comes in every month. So now we got a free $3,500, $4,000 a month. That's just going into investing. That's going into other stocks, bonds, or whatever it needs to be, right? So that's what I mean. So you don't need to be making $100,000 a year to make it, to get all those things. You have to understand how money works. Okay? So after bringing those things together, guys, I hope you have a good one. And if you ever need, all you got to do is visit thepurposebuilders.com. It's a plethora of information, right? And then also you can select, and you can also see what is in our back office, our free courses and things like that that you can be a part of, right? And if you're an individual that is proficient, that you're a professional, we also have an area for you, because we want to take the proficiency of individuals, right? And actually turn that and help other individuals in our community. So look, talk to us about becoming a professor with Real University, and to teach others what you know, how to overcome hurdles, right? How to advance, whatever this is in that particular field. Okay. So guys, y'all have a good one. And like I said, we'll do this every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Okay. Just tune in to the website that you see, www.thepurposebuilders.com/homes live. Okay. And when you do that, all you have to do is press play at 8:30, and we'll be ready to go at that time. Right? So I see you on the other side of purpose, because this side is just too easy. It's too easy to stay. It's too easy to leave, right? So we want to get on the other side of purpose, where we're locked in and committed to that goal of doing things in the right and the proper structures. Have a good one.